Picture this, right? It is the summer of 1899. We are standing in the high altitude of Colorado Springs.
Oh, the air up there, it's so thin.
Thin, incredibly dry, and just heavily scented with that sharp metallic smell of ozone.
Like right after a massive lightning storm.
Exactly. And Nikola Tesla is sitting on the dusty floor of his experimental laboratory. And above him, these massive copper coils are humming with just a terrifying amount of voltage.
Millions of volts.
Millions of volts of electricity literally leaking from his machines. I mean, the equipment is melting. His life's work is quite literally threatening to go up in flames right in front of it.
Which is an insane image when you think about it.
Right. And he has spent days violently twisting dials trying to, force a stable wireless electrical field. And the result is just absolute chaos.
Total destructive interference.
Yeah. But then, exhausted, he stops. He takes his hands off the controls. He just sits in the silence of the lab and watches. And the moment he stops trying to force the machinery, the lightning naturally organizes itself into these perfect, stable spirals.
Yeah, that specific diary entry from Colorado Springs, I mean, that is the exact moment our understanding of this man really needs to fundamentally shift.
Unpack that a bit. Why is that specific moment so important?
Well, we are so accustomed to viewing historical geniuses, especially scientists, through this lens of just cold mechanical precision.
Like they're human calculators or something.
Right, exactly. We look at his patent for the alternating current motor, and we see the exact placement of the copper coils, the mathematics, the clean binary logic of it all. We put him in a neat little box labeled, inventor.
But he wasn't just an inventor.
No. The reality of what was happening on the floor of that lab points to something far more profound, something much more esoteric.
Which is exactly what we are unpacking today. So welcome to the deep dive. We are looking at a stack of excerpts from a truly fascinating source text called Tesla's Secret, the Vibrational Architecture of Reality.
It's a brilliant compilation.
It really is. And our mission today is to pull back the curtain on Tesla's private, esoteric notebooks. We are exploring his deeply held belief that the universe isn't just some cold, dead machine made of isolated parts, but a highly responsive vibrational field.
A living field, essentially.
Yeah, and the core premise of our source material is that you, the person listening to this right now, are actively shaping that field.
And our goal today is to decode this really wild intersection of advanced physics and what many would call spirituality.
Though Tesla probably wouldn't call it that, right?
Oh, no, not at all. He would likely just call it undiscovered mechanics. I mean, he wasn't just building machines out of metal and wire. He was attempting to reverse engineer the literal machinery of existence.
Wow.
Yeah. So we are going to look at the actual physics of frequency and resonance, the biological mechanisms of how your body interacts with these forces, and how understanding this completely rewrites the way you interact with your daily reality.
And to you listening, the promise here is that this is not some dry historical biography.
No dates and patent numbers to memorize today.
Exactly. We aren't just going to list all that out. By the end of this deep dive, you are going to understand the actual mechanics of how to tune your own internal antenna to navigate your life without getting swallowed by the sheer static and overwhelm of the modern world.
So to start, we really have to begin with the premise that sets the foundation for this entire worldview. It is arguably his most quoted phrase.
Right, the one everyone puts on inspirational posters.
Yes, the classic, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Now, the standard textbook interpretation of that quote assumes he is talking strictly about his alternating current generators, or like radio wave transmission.
But the text we are looking at reframes this entirely. It argues that he wasn't just talking about electrical engineering in a vacuum, he was talking about the human organism.
He was talking about consciousness itself.
Right. He believed that every human being is literally a living antenna, like a conscious, vibrating particle suspended inside a massive cosmic electrical field.
To really understand the magnitude of that, we have to look at how an antenna actually works in physics.
Okay, lay it on me.
So, an antenna doesn't actually create a radio station. An antenna is simply a highly conductive piece of metal that allows ambient electromagnetic waves, which are invisible and, passing through the room right now, to move the electrons back and forth inside the metal.
So the wave hits the metal and physically moves the electrons.
Exactly. And that movement of electrons creates an electrical current that perfectly mirrors the invisible wave.
So the antenna is just a translator then. It translates invisible waves into a measurable current.
Precisely the mechanism. Now, apply that to human biology. Because our bodies are not just solid blocks of meat,
Playfully.
right? We are incredibly complex bioelectrical systems. Our nervous system is a vast network of conductive pathways. Our cells communicate through the exchange of charged ions.
Like sodium and potassium, right?
Sodium, potassium, calcium, yeah. We even have piezoelectric properties in our bones.
Wait, what does that mean? Piezoelectric?
It means mechanical stress on the bone actually generates an electrical charge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so when Tesla suggests we are antennas, he isn't being poetic. He is pointing to the literal bioelectric reality of our physical forms.
And that leads perfectly into what the text refers to as the field of coherence. Because if we are antennas, there must be a signal we are interacting with, right? You don't have an antenna with no signal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tesla didn't see a separation between the electrical activity in the human body and the electrical activity of the universe. He saw it all as one continuous vibrational symphony.
He often referred to the ether.
Yes, the ether, which is a concept that mainstream physics largely discarded after Einstein. But it is remarkably similar to what modern quantum physicists call the quantum vacuum or the zero-point field.
Which is the idea that space is not actually empty.
Right. Space is a teeming, boiling sea of latent energy. So the field of coherence is the specific state where the biological electrical field of the human and the ambient electrical field of the universe synchronize.
They lock in.
Yeah, they cease to be separate, isolated entities and become a single, perfectly aligned electrical circuit.
Okay, let's unpack this and explore the practical implications of that for the listener. Because if we are forming a single electrical circuit with the space around us, that implies a two-way street.
It does.
That means my thoughts and my emotions aren't just private little events happening in the, dark movie theater of my skull.
They are not private at all.
Yeah.
Every time a neuron fires in your brain, it creates a microelectrical current. And according to the laws of electromagnetism, specifically Ampere's law, any moving electrical charge creates a corresponding magnetic field.
So every single thought.
Every thought, every emotion, they are generating literal, measurable electromagnetic ripples that expand outward from your physical body into this surrounding field.
Which makes the human mind function like a transformer in an electrical grid. We take raw, latent energy, we alter its voltage through the quality of our focus or emotion, and we broadcast it outward.
And the text argues that what we send into this cosmic field, the field multiplies and sends back. It's a closed loop of resonance.
Can you give an analogy for that? How does the field send it back?
Think about a tuning fork. If you strike a tuning fork calibrated to the key of A and you bring it near a piano, only the A strings inside that piano will begin to vibrate in response.
The rest of the strings just sit there.
The other strings remain totally silent. The universe, in Tesla's view, operates on that exact principle of sympathetic resonance. If you are internally vibrating with a dominant frequency of fear, doubt, or scarcity, you become a very specific type of tuning fork.
And the piano of the universe responds.
Exactly. The responsive field around you reflects that exact frequency back by activating the corresponding elements in your physical reality.
Okay, I understand the physics of the tuning fork, and I think a lot of people listening will feel this way. If we are these powerful antennas and the universe is just waiting to harmonize with us, why does it feel like we are constantly fighting static?
Static.
Right, like why is the baseline human experience so exhausting? It feels less like I'm playing a clear, beautiful note on a piano and more like my brain is a radio tower trying to broadcast a clear signal while simultaneously picking up 3 different stations of absolute hissing static.
The static is the central problem of the human condition, absolutely. And it comes down to a conflict of frequencies.
What do you mean?
Well, you are trying to broadcast the conscious thought, I want a peaceful life. But beneath that conscious thought, your nervous system is broadcasting the subconscious frequency of deep-seated fear of the future.
So the subconscious is louder.
Much louder.
Yeah.
The field doesn't speak English. It doesn't listen to the words of your conscious desire. It responds to the dominant electrical output, the raw energy signature. And for most people, the dominant output is the static of their own internal resistance.
So we are effectively jamming our own signals.
You are.
Which logically brings us to the most frustrating part of this dynamic. When we realize there is static, our immediate cultural instinct is to try harder, to force the issue, to just hustle our way out of the static.
Right, grind it out.
Yeah. But according to Tesla's observations, trying harder is the exact mechanism that guarantees failure.
This is where we need to look closely at the physics of resistance. In an electrical circuit, resistance is literally anything that impedes the flow of current. When you push electricity through a highly resistant material, what happens?
It creates friction, it generates heat, like the filament in an old incandescent light bulb.
Exactly. And if you push too hard against too much resistance, the system overheats and blows. Tesla observed this physical law in his laboratory and realized it applies directly to human psychology and the fabric of reality itself.
The more force you apply.
The more force you apply to a system that is out of alignment, the more chaotic the system becomes. The universe speaks the language of resonance, not the language of effort. Electricity doesn't flow because you push it. It flows because a clear, unresisted path has been provided.
Which brings us back to that unbelievable scene in Colorado Springs in 1899. We touched on it at the beginning, but let's really examine what was happening there.
Yeah, so Tesla had built this massive experimental station to test the wireless transmission of energy. He had an enormous magnifying transmitter, a coil that was over 50 feet in diameter.
Huge.
He was trying to resonate the entire electrical field of the Earth. And for days, he was attempting to force the system to stabilize. He was introducing more power, turning dials, actively trying to control the massive amounts of energy.
And the result was destructive interference.
Yes. The text notes that the coils were burning out, lightning was arcing unpredictably, the equipment was being destroyed. He was introducing the energy of human control, which, in vibrational terms, acts as a massive resistor in the circuit.
So he is introducing resistance by trying to force an outcome. And it's only when he's completely physically exhausted, when he essentially just gives up trying to control the spark, that he shuts the power down, sits on the floor, and just observes.
Right.
And the moment his interference is removed from the equation, the ambient energy naturally organizes. The field responded the second he stopped trying to command it.
The profound implication here is the translation of that laboratory physics into our daily macro reality. Imagine applying the physics of a high-voltage coil to a traffic jam.
Oh, man.
Or a feeling relationship, or a massive creative block.
A creative block is the perfect structural analogy for this. I mean, anyone who writes or creates knows this pain. You stare at a blank screen and you try to, force the words out. You squeeze your brain trying to push the current through the resistance of your own frustration.
And it never works.
It is painful, it's exhausting, and the work is usually terrible. But the moment you walk away, the moment you get in the shower or start washing the dishes, the moment you drop the resistance and stop trying to control the outcome, the brilliant idea just drops effortlessly into your head.
Because you stopped introducing the vibration of struggle into the field.
Right.
The energy of trying to actively control a situation carries a core, underlying vibration of a lack of trust. It broadcasts a signal that says, I do not believe this will resolve unless I force it. And the universe, operating purely on sympathetic resonance, mirrors that back. It provides you with the exact resistance you are broadcasting.
I hear the physics of it, I really do, but I have to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Go for it.
We live in a society and an economic system that entirely rewards hustle. It rewards action, grinding, and making things happen. If I encounter a problem at work and I just sit down on the floor like Tesla and stop trying to fix it, isn't that just giving up? Isn't that just apathy? How do we reconcile dropping resistance with actually navigating the real world?
It is a critical distinction to make. Dropping resistance is not apathy. Apathy is a low-energy state of detachment and, giving up. Dropping resistance is about shifting your energetic state from forced interference to harmonic alignment. Action is still required, but it is a very different quality of action.
Okay, so it's the difference between taking an axe to a jammed gear versus listening quietly to hear where the teeth are misaligned.
That is an excellent way to frame it. Swaying the axe is hustle without alignment. It requires massive caloric energy and usually just damages the machine further. Listening quietly allows you to understand the frequency of the problem so you can match it with the precise, effortless action required for the solution.
That makes total sense.
And this brings us to the actual biological mechanism of how the universe reads our alignment. It is not about the words we say or how hard we swing the axe. It is entirely about what we actually feel.
Which introduces what I think is the most confronting truth in the entire source text.
Oh, absolutely.
It states plainly, you do not attract what you want, you attract what you are.
It forces absolute vibrational responsibility. It strips away all of our excuses.
The text gives a brilliant illustration of this. So imagine two different people, right? And they both utter the exact same sentence out loud. I want love.
Okay.
The words, the literal air pressure leaving their lungs are identical, but the internal frequencies are miles apart. Person A is asking for love from a place of deep lack. They are lonely, desperate, and they feel empty. They are vibrating with the biological feeling of absence.
Right.
Person B is saying, I want love from a place of wholeness. They are secure, they feel complete on their own, and they simply desire to share that completeness.
And because the universe is a mathematically fair mirror, it does not process the English word love. It processes the electromagnetic output of the organism.
Good for person A.
For person A, the dominant frequency is lack. The universe resonates with that lack and delivers more situations that confirm that absence, empty dates, unfulfilling connections, a deeper sense of isolation. For person B, the dominant frequency is wholeness. The field reads wholeness and delivers a harmonic match.
This completely dismantles the pop culture version of manifestation.
Oh, entirely.
You can't just stand in front of a bathroom mirror and recite like 500 positive affirmations about being wealthy or successful if the underlying feeling in your gut is a sheer cold terror of going broke.
The universe ignores the positive words and instantly responds to the terror. It cannot be tricked by linguistic formulas. And the source text brings in empirical biological data to explain exactly why positive thinking alone fails. It cites research from the HeartMath Institute, which studies the electrophysiology of the body.
This data point was staggering to me. The heart is generating an electrical field 5,000 times stronger than the brain. Wait, really? 5,000 times?
Yeah, 5,000.
Yeah.
Let's break down the mechanics of that because it's wild. The brain generates an electrical field through the firing of neurons. We measure this with an EEG, right?
Right.
But the heart is a massive electromagnetic generator. The sinoatrial node in the heart acts as a natural pacemaker, sending a powerful wave of electrical depolarization through the cardiac muscle tissue to trigger every single heartbeat.
Every beat.
Every single beat. Because there is so much dense tissue firing simultaneously, it generates magnetic field that is not only 5,000 times stronger magnetically than the brain, but it actually extends several feet outside the physical body in a shape known as a torus, like a kind of energetic donut shape.
And they can measure this.
Yes. We can literally measure this field using school-wide magnetometers from across a room.
That is mind-blowing. So if we look at this biologically, the brain and the heart have two very different jobs in this circuit.
Think of it like building an electromagnet. If you take a piece of iron and wrap a copper wire around it, you've created a structure. That is the brain. The brain creates the blueprint. It shapes the thought.
But it doesn't do anything on its own.
Exactly. An electromagnet doesn't do anything until you connect it to a massive battery and run a current through the wire. The heart is the battery. The heart provides the emotional electricity that energizes the blueprint. Without the emotional charge of the heart, the thought is just a dead piece of wire.
That makes perfect sense of a specific claim in the text, where it says a single minute of sincere, deeply felt emotion equals thousands of hours of mental, brain-based effort.
It's pure physics. You are comparing the weak magnetic field of a cognitive thought to the massive 5,000 times stronger toroidal field of an emotion. If you are using the 1x power of your brain to think positive thoughts, but the 5,000x power of your heart is broadcasting fear, the fear overpowers the signal every single time.
Wow.
The outer chaos in a person's life is usually just a mathematical reflection of that internal discord.
But if the heart's emotion is the true motor-driving reality, how do we stop the brain from constantly feeding it garbage? Because, I mean, my brain is a hyperactive anxiety machine.
Most of us are.
Right. It constantly jumps in with worst-case scenarios, obsessing over timelines, trying to figure out the how. How do we quiet that cognitive noise so the heart can broadcast a clear signal? And I think this brings us to Tesla's concept of what he called active rest.
Yes. To understand active rest, we have to look at what the text calls the great modern disease, which is the collective hallucination that constant frantic movement equals progress.
It's an infection. We measure our worth by our level of exhaustion. Like, oh, you slept 4 hours. I slept 2. I'm winning.
We do. We wear it as a badge of honor. But the text asks us to look at the physics of the natural world. Nature is hyper-efficient, yet it never rushes. A river flows toward the ocean, but it doesn't have anxiety about the timeline.
It simply yields to the fundamental force of gravity.
Exactly. A storm doesn't force a lightning strike. The strike happens instantaneously, the exact moment the atmospheric electrical field reaches perfect saturation.
Nature yields. It doesn't force.
Right. But human beings operate under the delusion that if we aren't highly stressed, we aren't being productive. And the text dismantles this by citing a study from Stanford University regarding brainwave states.
Right, the different frequencies of the brain. You've got beta, alpha, theta.
Let's explain what those actually are, though. A brainwave isn't a single thing. It is the synchronized electrical pulsing of masses of neurons communicating with each other.
Okay.
When you are stressed, actively solving a problem, or rushing, your brain is in a beta state. That's usually between 12 and 30 hertz meaning cycles per second. It is fast, jagged, and highly reactive.
That's the hustle state.
Yeah. But the Stanford data showed that the most profoundly creative, pattern-recognizing, and productive state is actually the alpha wave state, which slows down to between 8 and 12 hertz.
And you don't reach an alpha state by drinking 3 energy drinks and staring aggressively at a spreadsheet.
No, definitely not.
You achieve alpha during relaxed silence.
Tesla referred to this state as harmonic coherence or active rest. It is a highly specific biological state where the analytical mind stops acting as a static generator and becomes a pure, unresisting conductor for the ambient field.
This provides so much context for Tesla's bizarre personal life. The text talks about his extreme need for isolation. Historically, people painted him as a misanthrope, the classic mad scientist locking himself away in her hotel room because he hated society.
But the text argues it had absolutely nothing to do with misanthropy. It was an issue of signal integrity. He isolated himself because he was so sensitive to the electromagnetic environment. He needed to escape the chaotic beta wave static of the collective human mind.
To clear the channel.
Right. He literally wrote that he needed isolation to hear the hum of the universe breathing. He fundamentally understood that the collective anxiety of New York City was scrambling his own biological antenna.
And the text connects this need for observation and isolation directly to quantum physics, which is where this entire philosophy finds its hardest scientific grounding. It brings up the observer effect.
We cannot overstate the importance of the observer effect in this context.
Yeah.
It is the cornerstone of quantum mechanics.
Walk us through that because it's a huge concept.
Sure. The classic illustration is the double slit experiment. When physicists shoot single particles of light photons through a barrier with 2 slits in it, something impossible happens. If there is no measuring device observing the photons, they pass through the slits and create an interference pattern on the wall behind it.
And an interference pattern is what a wave makes.
Right, exactly. It's the signature of a wave. It means the single photon went through both slits simultaneously as a wave of infinite probabilities.
It exists everywhere at once as pure potential.
Yes. But the moment the physicists place a detector at the slits to simply observe which slit the photon goes through, the wave function collapses. The interference pattern disappears.
Just from looking at it.
Just from looking at it, a photon suddenly acts like a solid little bullet and goes through only one slit.
The sheer act of observation forces the infinite probability to collapse into a single physical reality. That is wild.
It is. The consciousness of the observer is fundamentally entangled with the behavior of the subatomic matter. Now, apply this quantum reality to Tesla's theories. The text asserts that the universe is a fluid field of probabilities. How you choose to observe your life dictates how the field collapses into physical events.
Okay, so if I'm observing with anxiety.
Right, if you observe your reality with a baseline of fear, constantly checking your bank account with a knot of anxiety in your stomach, bracing for impact, expecting failure, you are actively collapsing the quantum wave function into a localized reality of lack.
This explains an incredibly common daily phenomenon. Think about trying to remember a piece of trivia or a forgotten name. You are snapping your fingers, pacing the room, squeezing your brain trying to pull the data out. And the harder you squeeze, the more impossible it becomes to remember.
Because you are observing the situation through the lens of frustration and effort, you are creating massive electrical resistance.
But the very second you surrender, the second you say, oh, well, it's gone, I'll think of it tomorrow, and you go to the kitchen to make a sandwich, boom, the name drops perfectly into your consciousness.
Every time.
The act of intense mental effort was literally blocking the flow of the information. The state of active rest, making a sandwich, was the unresisting conductor that unlocked the data.
It is a perfect micro-example of harmonic coherence. You drop the resistance, the static cleared, and the field delivered the missing piece. But scaling that up to larger life problems introduces a massive psychological hurdle.
Oh, absolutely.
Because letting go of control when it's just a forgotten name is easy. Letting go of control when it's your career, your health, or your family is absolutely terrifying.
It is against every evolutionary survival instinct we have to take our hands off the steering wheel.
It is. And the most dangerous phase of this entire process is the time delay between the moment you actually let go and the moment the physical reality reorganizes to match your new state. Tesla had a specific term for this perilous space. He called it the neutral zone.
Surviving the neutral zone. This is where the physics of doubt comes into play, and honestly, I feel like this is where the vast majority of people completely derail the process.
The neutral zone, or the gap, is necessary because of the density of matter.
Meaning what exactly?
Well, a thought or an emotion is a high-frequency, low-density electrical signal. It changes instantly. Physical reality, people, circumstances, bank accounts, biological health is incredibly dense matter. It vibrates at a much slower rate.
Like trying to turn a massive cruise ship versus a jet ski.
Exactly. Therefore, there is a lag time. It takes physical time for dense matter to catch up to a change in the energetic blueprint.
So let's say I manage to align my heart and brain. I shift my vibration from fear to abundance or peace. But I open my eyes, and my physical reality still looks like a complete disaster. The circumstances haven't changed yet.
Precisely. And this is the ultimate test of the system. A person looks at the unchanged physical reality. They don't see immediate 3D proof that their internal shift is working and their survival instincts take over. What do?
They panic, they immediately doubt it, they say, this isn't working, I need to take control again.
And that doubt is not just a harmless passing thought. According to the mechanics outlined in the text, doubt acts as a literal, catastrophic electrical short circuit.
A short circuit?
Yes. Every single time you introduce the dense frequency of doubt, you sever the energetic connection, you ground out the circuit, the entire system resets, and the universe has to start building the current all over again from absolute zero.
It is infuriatingly sensitive. It's like downloading a massive multi-gigabyte file on a terrible internet connection. You sit there patiently as it gets to 98%, 99%, and then you get impatient, assume it's frozen, and unplug the router.
Yep.
You lose all the progress.
That is exactly what doubt does to the vibrational field. To illustrate how chronic this problem is, the text cites a really sobering study from Harvard University. The researchers found that the average human mind spends roughly 74% of its waking hours thinking about things that will never actually happen.
74%. That's wild. 74% of our lives spent hallucinating.
Essentially, yes.
We are literally projecting imaginary futures of failure, rejection, and disaster.
Tesla referred to this chronic worry as a leak of psychic energy. From a physics standpoint, you have a finite amount of bioelectrical energy available to collapse the quantum wave function into reality. If you are bleeding 74% of that power into imaginary worst-case scenarios, what is left to build the reality you actually want?
Nothing.
Right. Furthermore, the universe is always responding to the broadcast happening in the present moment. If your present moment is filled with 74% chaotic worry, the field obediently organizes physical matter to match that chaotic frequency.
But the text also provides the biological counterargument to this, citing research from Yale regarding neuroplasticity. It demonstrates that we aren't hopelessly hardwired for panic.
The Yale data is crucial because it bridges the energetic with the physical. It deals with Hebbian theory.
Remind us what that is.
The concept that neurons that fire together wire together. The study showed that maintaining a specific, elevated emotion like gratitude or profound peace for a sustained period of time doesn't just feel good temporarily. It literally forces the brain to release specific neuropeptides that travel to the cells and alter cellular receptors.
It physically changes the brain.
It physically rewires the neural pathways, building new protein bridges. Your biological vibration literally alters your physical matter.
Sustained emotion builds physical architecture, which brings a completely new dimension to the concept of faith. How did a hard scientist like Tesla view faith?
He stripped it of all religious dogma entirely. Tesla viewed faith purely as a function of electrical engineering. He defined it as continuous current.
Continuous current, meaning direct current that doesn't oscillate or waver.
Exactly. Faith is the vibrational stamina to hold a coherent frequency steady without demanding immediate physical visual proof. It is the ability to hold the note perfectly still while the dense matter of the rest of the orchestra takes time to tune up and match you.
But how do we pacify the ego during that lag time? Because the ego's fear of the void is deafening. The ego screams that if it stops worrying, if it takes its eye off the problem, the whole world will collapse.
The ego suffers from the illusion that its anxiety is the glue holding reality together. But the text describes a phenomenon called the vibrational paradox.
I love this part.
It's fascinating. This is the moment when you finally exhaust yourself, you drop the resistance, and you truly stop fighting the problem. And almost instantly, the person who was arguing with you suddenly apologizes. Or the impossible financial solution miraculously presents itself.
It feels like magic when it happens. Like, wait, I just stopped caring and it fixed itself.
But the mechanics prove it isn't magic. It is simply the cessation of vibrational resistance. The coherent field was attempting to deliver the solution the entire time, but your dense, anxious frequency was literally repelling it, like trying to force two matching magnetic poles together.
They just bounce off each other.
Right. The moment you removed your anxious barrier, the natural harmonic flow resumed.
Okay, so we have built the entire foundation. We understand that we are biological antennas. We understand the universe is a mathematically precise mirror. We know that the heart generates the magnetic field, and we know that doubt acts as a short circuit.
We've covered the theory.
Right, but the critical question remains for you listening. How do we actually do this? How do I physically stop being a chaotic ball of static? And the source material concludes with a highly practical application, Tesla's three-step vibrational protocol.
Yes, this is where we transition from quantum theory into daily biohacking. The text distills his philosophy into three sequential practices designed to actively tune the human antenna.
Okay, let's go through them. Step 1. Observe without reacting. The text instructs that when fear, anxiety, or doubt inevitably arises in the body, you must not fight it. And equally important, you must not try to cover it up with fake toxic positivity, you simply observe it.
The mechanism behind this is rooted in how the amygdala processes threats. When you feel fear and you immediately judge it, hate it, or try to aggressively force a positive thought over it, you are engaging with the fear.
You're feeding it.
You are feeding it electrical charge. You are adding resistance to the circuit. However, neutral observation, the act of simply noticing the physiological sensation of panic in your chest without reacting to it, engages the prefrontal cortex. It physically cuts the power supply to the amygdala.
So you just watch it happen.
You drain the negative emotion of its electrical charge simply by refusing to fight it.
Yeah.
You reclaim the position of the neutral observer.
So if I have a massive deadline looming and my chest gets tight with panic, I don't try to lie to my body and say, oh, everything is great, I'm so relaxed. My nervous system knows that's a lie.
It totally knows.
Instead, I just mentally note there is a tight sensation of panic in my chest. I treat it like a data point.
Precisely. You step out of the storm and become the sky watching the storm. That is the ultimate position of power.
Which clears the static for step 2. Reprogram the body for calm. Because the universe reads the biology of the heart, not the mental chatter of the brain, we have to physically alter the body's state. The text provides a specific rhythmic breathing protocol. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold the breath for 4 seconds, and exhale slowly for 6 seconds.
This is not just a relaxation trick. This is literal mechanical tuning of the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the main informational highway between the heart and the brain.
Okay, and the breathing affects that.
Yes, when you extend the exhale to be longer than the inhale, the 6-second out-breath, you are mechanically stimulating the vagus nerve to release acetylcholine, which forces the parasympathetic nervous system to activate. It slams the brakes on the fight-or-flight static.
So it's a physical override.
A complete override. Practicing this 4-4-6 rhythm 3 times a day forces the heart rate variability to smooth out. It physically synchronizes the massive electromagnetic field of the heart with the brain waves, pushing you into that highly creative, coherent alpha state we talked about earlier.
You are literally physically tuning the hardware of the antenna. And once the hardware is tuned, we move to step 3. Anchor the new state with presence, maintaining that continuous current of faith.
This is the critical final step.
The text advises that in these alpha states, particularly upon waking up or right before falling asleep, you silently affirm a specific resonance. I am the field that creates. I vibrate in harmony.
But the critical point of failure for most people is how they affirm it. It cannot be a desperate mental wish. It cannot be linguistic.
Right, the universe doesn't speak English.
Exactly. It must be a somatic bodily feeling. You have to use the brain to focus the thought, but you must use the heart to generate the literal emotion of harmony. You have to feel the gratitude and the relief in your chest as if the reality has already collapsed into physical form.
And the text issues a formidable 21-day challenge here. It asserts that if a person practices this 3-step protocol neutral observation, vagal breathing, and emotional anchoring for 21 consecutive days, the physical results become undeniable.
Because of the neuroplasticity.
Right. Neural pathways are pruned and rebuilt. Synchronicities in daily life multiply rapidly. The physical body actually feels less dense, and solutions to complex problems begin to appear before the conscious brain even fully articulates the question.
Because after 21 days of sustained neuroplasticity, You have effectively stopped jamming your own signal. You have allowed the field of coherence to establish a stable, continuous current through your biology.
It perfectly mirrors the reality of tuning a complex instrument, like a guitar. You don't just tune a guitar on a Tuesday, put it in its case, and expect it to maintain perfect pitch a month later.
That would be nice, but no.
Right. The strings stretch, the wood expands and contracts with the temperature of the room, it falls out of tune naturally, you have to sit down and recalibrate it every single time you want to play.
That structural metaphor is vital. This protocol is not a magical incantation you perform once to fix your life. It is a daily, sometimes hourly, requirement of maintenance.
Because the world is loud.
The dense reality of the world, the news, the economy, traffic, interpersonal conflict, will constantly exert pressure on your antenna, trying to pull you back down into the chaotic, beta wave frequency of fear and hustle. Your singular job as the operator of the system is to notice the static, observe it without reaction, breathe the nervous system back into coherence, and retune the dial to harmony.
We have journeyed through an immense amount of esoteric and scientific ground today. To synthesize everything we've pulled from Tesla's hidden notebooks, you, the listener, are not a fragile, passive victim being tossed around by a cold, randomized universe.
Far from it.
You are an incredibly powerful bioelectrical antenna. You are a conscious co-creator actively participating in a mathematically flawless, deeply responsive quantum field.
When you connect the physics of electromagnetism, the biological reality of the heart's toroidal field, and the quantum mechanics of the observer effect, the resulting worldview is one of terrifying responsibility, but also profound, limitless empowerment.
Terrifying is the right word, honestly.
But empowering. You always retain the power of choice. You can choose to remain in the friction. You can continue to broadcast the static of anxiety, exhaust yourself with the illusion of control, and fight the current of reality. Or you can choose to stop.
Just drop.
Drop the resistance, step into the active rest of creative silence, and allow the massive, intelligent field of the universe to do the heavy lifting for you.
It is the paradigm shift from trying to build the ocean wave with your bare hands to simply learning how to surf. And so as we conclude this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final provocative question to carry with you as you walk out into the physical density of your day.
It's a big one.
We started this hour exploring the comfort of mechanical precision, how we like things neat and measurable, but knowing the immense, invisible bioelectrical mechanics that are operating beneath the surface of everything you do, well, if the universe is truly just a flawless, mathematically precise mirror reflecting your dominant internal frequency, what exactly are you choosing to broadcast right now in this very second? And are you brave enough to take your hands off the controls, sit in the silence, and see what the universe echoes back?